Hey guys! Welcome! Today we're gonna talk about an exciting story of two young lads, Pikelet and his buddy Looney, who live in a peaceful coastal village. Who wouldn't want to live in a place like that, right? On a sunny morning, they see trucks full of surfers passing by. That immediately got them thinking, wow, we should give surfing a try. The two of them are determined to learn. They start designing surfboards made of foam, yes, actual foam. While trying out the waves, they realize the limitations of their makeshift gear. But they didn't want to give up. Looney had a brilliant idea. What if we gather money to buy a better surfboard? And that's where the adventure begins. They start odd jobs, cutting wood, doing various small tasks, until they finally collect enough money. For every full truck they could earn $10. They're so pumped. After days of hard work, they finally manage to buy a used surfboard. With 1000% enthusiasm, they dive straight into the sea, even though the weather isn't friendly. At the beach they meet Sando, a seasoned surfer. Sando is so kind, he offers to store their surfboard at his house. Once at Sando's place, Looney is immediately captivated by his slightly different room. He even misunderstands it, thinking it's a love nest. Later on they return home and come back the next day to pick up the surfboard, but there they are approached by Eva, a beautiful girl who turns out to be Sando's girlfriend. While Looney tries to get close to the lovely Eva, Pikelet falls for Queenie, his classmate. They often hang out at the library, sharing books and stories. Before they know it, their relationship becomes even closer and sweeter. One day, they witness Sando and Eva arguing. Eva looks really angry because Sando wants to return to surfing after his sudden retirement. After the commotion, Sando invites Pikelet and Looney to a secret location. He says, "Come on, follow me to a remote island with awesome waves." Pikelet and Looney instantly think, wow, this is going to be an exciting adventure. Upon arrival they are greeted with an alluring view of the wavy beach. But Sando also informs them about Barney, the white shark that instills fear. But don't worry guys, it's not the season. We're safe. He tries to reassure them. Despite the tempting waves, Looney starts to have doubts. What if we skip surfing today? He suggests to Pikelet to sit back and relax on the beach, and Pikelet agrees. On the way back, Pikelet gets curious and asks Sando about his professional surfing experience. Sando says, surfing is all about harmony. You have to be able to communicate with the waves. That really inspires both of them. Eventually they start spending more time in the water, observing the waves and weather. They learn that surfing isn't just about the action on the board, but also about understanding nature. One day, Pikelet visits Sando's house alone. There he sees Eva asleep on the sofa. What catches Pikelet's attention is Eva's injured knee. When Eva wakes up and sees Pikelet, he immediately asks, "Hey, how did you get injured like that?" Eva explains that the injury is from skiing. This makes Pikelet really want to see snow, but upon seeing Eva's injury he quickly apologizes. After that, Sando challenges Pikelet to conquer waves as high as 3 meters. Unfortunately, Looney can't join due to an arm injury. At the beach, Pikelet starts to doubt, but Sando keeps pushing him. "Come on, Pikelet. You can do it." After several heart-pounding attempts, Pikelet finally conquers that wave. He almost feels like he's flying from sheer joy. But Looney, watching from afar, becomes jealous. He is determined to heal quickly so he can surf again. Once Looney's arm heals, he returns to the sea and, wow, he manages to conquer even bigger waves than Pikelet ever did. Sando is incredibly proud of both of them. You've become great surfers. However, trouble arises when Sando invites Looney to go to a beach with even larger waves. Eva immediately forbids them. No, this is dangerous. She worries about their safety. But Sando disregards her warning and still invites Looney. Pikelet, feeling scared of the big waves, chooses to stay on the boat. When they return, Pikelet feels really down. His father invites him to go fishing to calm down. After that, Pikelet decides to stop by Sando's house. But when he arrives, the house is empty. Suddenly, Eva appears after a heavy rain. She asks Pikelet for help moving items from the car into the house. Eva mentions that Sando and Looney have gone to Indonesia to surf the world's best waves. Although Pikelet feels annoyed, he's also happy to be alone with Eva. It was pouring rain at the time, and Pikelet's clothes were soaked. Eva helps him change and things get a bit heated, guy and girl stuff. After that, Pikelet becomes kind of obsessed with Eva. He goes to Eva's house every day just to spend time in bed. Then one day, Queenie invites Pikelet to an event. Initially hesitant, Pikelet eventually goes. At the event, Queenie takes Pikelet to a secluded spot and seems to flirt. But Pikelet refuses because he's already deeply in love with Eva. The next day, Pikelet comes back to Eva's house. He helps Eva chop firewood for the cold season, making Eva really happy. Then she invites Pikelet to her room. In the room, Eva asks Pikelet to cover his face with plastic until he can't breathe. At first he hesitates, but Eva convinces him that it will be a fun experience. Afterward, Pikelet feels kind of guilty. But Eva assures him that she's okay. It turns out that Eva did it so Pikelet could understand what it feels like to lose a loved one when running out of breath, like when she wanted to show the experience of being caught under a wave while surfing. That day, Pikelet asks Eva to pick him up from school. Heavy rain pours down, and in the midst of the rain, they find themselves in another intimate moment that makes their hearts race. But, unbeknownst to them, all that intimacy has consequences. Eva turns out to be pregnant. Pikelet, young and spirited, immediately asks, "Who's the father of this child?" He expresses his willingness to take responsibility. But guys, despite the feelings between them, Pikelet is only 14 years old. And Eva, with all her emotions, tells Pikelet to leave because their moment of happiness has come to an end. In the midst of his emotional turmoil, Pikelet feels trapped and confused. So he seeks solace in the vast ocean. With a surfboard given by Sando, he surfs on gigantic waves that skyrocket his adrenaline. Unfortunately, a massive wave hits him, burying him underwater. In a state of panic, Pikelet struggles against the current and eventually resurfaces. Sadly, his beloved surfboard is lost, swallowed by the ocean. A few days later, Looney comes to Pikelet's house. He brings exciting stories from his trip to Indonesia, but Pikelet can sense that something is amiss. Behind Looney's smile, there's a hint of concern. It turns out he's heard about Sando's missing surfboard and rumors that could anger Sando. Pikelet is taken aback. Fear starts creeping into his chest as he realizes that his affair with Eva might have been exposed. Seeing the meaningful look on Looney's face, his suspicions grow stronger. Pikelet is still haunted by his conversation with Looney. His mind is in turmoil and it's really hard for him to focus. When Sando picks him up from school, Pikelet thinks it's all over, especially when Sando mentions knowing that Pikelet had chopped firewood at his house and about the missing surfboard in the sea. Sando also says, "Don't feel guilty about the surfboard because I will be the father." Wow, Pikelet's heart starts racing. The guilt becomes even more worrying as he recalls his affair with Eva. Luckily, Sando doesn't bring up that topic. When Sando and Looney invite Pikelet to surf, he refuses as he is still traumatized by what happened in the sea. Sando keeps trying to encourage him. "Come on, Pikelet. You have an extraordinary talent that shouldn't be wasted." Unfortunately, Pikelet remains adamant in his refusal. After they left, Pikelet went into the house and immediately stored his surfboard in a safe place. It was then that he began to realize something important. The fear that haunted him was actually a part of himself. Confronting and understanding that fear might help him to get to know himself better. Years later, Pikelet hears shocking news about Looney. His former free-spirited and fearless surfer friend has transformed into a respected professional surfer. Tragically, Looney loses his life at sea. In the final scene, Pikelet reflects on his enduring love for surfing. He recalls all the precious moments of standing on the surfboard, feeling the crashing waves. And with that, the movie comes to an end.